So at the beginning of 2024, I started studying QA testing. After 8 months of studying, I successfully landed my first job as a manual QA, and only 3 months after that, I effed it all up. I don't have this job anymore. So let me tell you my story, and maybe it'll be useful for some of you who decides to become a QA tester. Maybe you will avoid my mistakes or even consider whether this job is for you or not. So after college, I was really lost. I didn't know what to do with my life. Classic. Then I got depressed. I started working at a simple job. The money was really on the low. I couldn't afford doing anything. I couldn't afford buying stuff. I couldn't afford traveling to see my friends. I couldn't afford hobbies. Neither I had some. I couldn't afford paying for therapy, etc., etc. So then I started thinking that if I had money, I could at least start improving my life, but I had no idea what to do. And I've been hearing a lot of stories from family members and friends about people who switched their careers successfully into IT and started earning a lot of money and became really happy. So I started asking everybody about IT and doing my research and eventually found out that QA was the easiest way into tech career. So after a long time and a lot of hesitations, I eventually bought a complete video course on how to become a QA tester. It was just a video course in the format of pre-recorded videos, no exercises, nothing like that. And after watching it, I really didn't understand much. It did not motivate me much. Plus, I'm a type of person that is not very good at self-studying and I'm not very disciplined. So I decided I needed a course with real tutors and real schedule. I found a course, saved up a little money, plus thanks to my family they sponsored me also, and in January 2024 the course started. The course was 6 months total, 5 projects plus a diploma project at the end. The starting process for me was really hard. Thankfully, one guy from our group messaged me and we decided to study together to motivate and discipline each other. After a long hard studying, I eventually graduated and really hard part started after that. Searching for a job. Nobody needs juniors. I had been applying for 2 months non-stop for every QA position possible. But I live in a small town where there's no QA job available in 300-mile radius. So because of that, I was only applying for a remote job. And my friend who we were studying together, he lives in Moscow, and he found his first job real quickly because all the tech jobs are situated in big cities like in Moscow and just a few others. And after a long time, I got my first reply and first interview. I was really nervous at the time and I messed it all up and got rejected. I got really depressed after that and stopped replying for jobs almost for a month. After that period of time, I decided to reply for an office position in Moscow just out of curiosity. You know, to see whether it's just because of my location or just life hates me. And surprisingly, for the very next day, I got invited for an interview. I wasn't planning on moving cities, but I decided to have an interview regardless, just out of curiosity and for experience. And surprise, surprise, I got the job. So the work was supposed to start in 3 weeks, and after a lot of thinking, I decided to take this chance and decided to move. Coming to Moscow, I got really depressed because I hate living in big cities. The climate is garbage, the gray sky is like 10, 11 months a year. The commute is really long, there are too many people, everything is expensive, etc., etc. So the work started. It was a manual QA position. I was supposed to test backend software for a satellite company. The schedule was hybrid, only 1 day in the office and 4 other days you work remotely. So I started working, and let me tell you, it wasn't anything like we studied during the course. I didn't understand much at the beginning. The company got its own wiki. I needed to study it by myself and ask other testers questions. And the trial period was 3 months. And as I was learning, I was asking a lot of questions, but as I mentioned before, I'm not very good at learning by myself, so I wasn't making a lot of progress. The company was not very pleased with my results. They gave me a warning to improve my work. I got really anxious and lost, and I asked some of my colleagues to help me out with tutoring after work, for money of course. Some of my colleagues agreed to help me out for a couple of times and they helped me, but they got their own work and they didn't have much of free time to help me out constantly. So I got really anxious. I didn't make any progress. That deadline was coming. And eventually I decided that I'm not suited for this job and I quit it. I came back home, got really depressed again, and now I don't really know whether this career was really for me or not. So, my mistakes. I think I failed because I wasn't really into tech before. I decided to take this job only for the money and the potential remote work. But mistake number one, taking a job only for money. I couldn't do it for money. It wasn't really interesting for me. Thus, I didn't progress in it. Thus, I didn't earn any money. Mistake number two, remote work. It's very hard for a junior to study aspects of a new job while you working from home. You need to be at the office. Say in the office, when you got a question, it takes you 2 seconds to stand up, come up to a colleague, ask him a question, and in a matter of like minutes, your question is solved. You got an answer for it. It is very quick and productive to be in the office and learn a new job. When you work remotely, you gotta write down your questions. You gotta ask colleagues for help. Not everybody reads chats right away. Then you gotta schedule a call with a colleague, so it's not instant. Everybody's busy and they postpone it. And before the call happens, you're just sitting there wasting your time doing nothing. So yeah guys, if you thought about switching a career and becoming a QA tester, I would recommend you to do a lot of research before. Try watching videos of what QA testers do. Try some freelance projects. There are a lot of free courses on the internet, on YouTube, so watch them and at least you will have an understanding what the job is gonna be. And only after all of this, if you have some free money and got no better ways to invest it, then yeah, I would recommend you taking a course. Maybe, yeah, you will succeed, switch your career and become a lot happier than you are right now. At least I'm glad I tried. So, this is my experience and I hope it will help you in some ways at least in switching your career. And yeah, good luck.